So my name is Stephen Clift. I work at Canterbury Christchurch University, one of a number of Cathedrals groups universities, and together with Persephone Newman at Newman University in Birmingham, I've organised a two-day event bringing together academics from across the Cathedrals group universities interested in arts, wellbeing and health. And what we're going to be doing is sharing our interests and exploring areas where we might collaborate to take forward work in this exciting and developing field of arts and health. I feel that people across the Cathedrals group have made a significant contribution to this area already, and I think if we work together collaboratively, we could do some interesting further work.
I've called my presentation here, which I think is a very exciting project, Music and Spirituality and Religion in a Post-Secular World. We are church colleges, and we share our Christian foundations, and we live in a culture which is missing God and is in a state of post-secularism where religious views of the world, but a variety of religious views of the world, are accepted alongside secularism. So how far can music provide us with a space in which was once occupied by religion, but now is occupied by something called spirituality? And I based it on the notion that as human beings, our well-being depends on four things: our bodies, our environment, our society, and the cosmic. And that was the Ecology of Health from Rowan Williams. And so the cosmic is often excluded from conventional senses of well-being, but as human beings, we need to make meaning. And music is one way of doing that. But in a society where there's a multiplicity of ways of doing that, which are vying for positions, but my position is that we need to accept all of those and to see that basically, as human beings, music affects the body, it links us with the environment, it makes us feel that we belong, but links us with the cosmic meaning, which is what human beings need in order to achieve the greatest well-being that we can in this complex and remarkable and wonderful world.
I'm Polly Wright, and I am the Artistic Director of an organisation called the Hearth Centre. Today I brought a presentation which is partly about my work in drama, but also about the work that I do using reading and creative writing to promote well-being, and particularly in the West Midlands community. So my presentation today will be about the impact of the arts, and very specifically the arts of drama and of literature. And so I will be reflecting on what that does, what to people's confidence if they become involved in, say, a reading and writing group, and how it promotes their well-being. But also I'll be reflecting on another use of theatre, and that's in the use of theatre within professional training of doctors very particularly.
So my presentation today has been about developing best practice in evaluation in arts, health and wellbeing. The kind of context for it is that there seems to be increased interest in how we can use arts in health and wellbeing contexts, and there's also increasing kind of evidence for how arts can support people with various health conditions, or maybe older people, or people with kind of social issues like isolation, loneliness, etc. But there's also some real challenges. Obviously the funding is very tight, so people have to be really savvy about how they get these projects funded. But also the kind of frameworks of how we evaluate them aren't necessarily agreed upon. So on the one hand, there are frameworks for medicine and health, but they're not necessarily familiar to people in the arts. So the work that I've been doing has been trying to bridge these kind of two different worlds. So what I've talked about is the Creative Incredible project, which is an evaluation website that I produce with a company called Willis Newson. And the Creative Incredible website takes you all around the evaluation cycle and shows how to use different methodologies. I've also talked a little bit about the Public Health England Arts, Health and Evaluation framework, which I wrote and worked on with ESOP. That's available nationally as well, and that's another resource for kind of bringing together the arts world and the health world. And then I talked a little bit about the What Works for Wellbeing Centre, which is another project that I'm involved with, doing evidence reviews for things like music and singing and visual arts and mental health. So through that presentation there's a kind of thread about looking at evaluation challenges but also opportunities, and that feeds very much into what David Walters talked about in terms of how that context is being explored and developed at Winchester University.
I would summarise the work that we've been looking at this weekend, and particularly the work that I've been exploring over the last 2 or 3 years, as trying to bring together arts and health. So bring together the organisations in arts, practitioners, artists' organisations, and the health sector. That's the clinical commissioning group, the cultural trusts, the arts organisations that have an interest in the arts as well-being. And the Winchester model that's emerged is one of co-production. We recognise there's no easy solutions, there's no quick fix to this, but the key thing is that we're seeking to listen and hear what the health sector is requiring, what the public health sector is requiring, alongside the needs of the artists and the approaches that they might have. At Winchester we have a model of trying to understand these from an evaluation perspective. So we're looking at projects and interventions from an artistic perspective, at the same time looking at an evaluation approach to understanding those approaches. The other piece I think I'd probably want to say is that we need to think carefully about the needs of the communities that we work in, and to make sure that we deal with health inequalities in those communities. This is not about the survival of an arts practice or indeed an extension to the NHS. We have to be realistic about what we can do for those clients, for those patients, and the aim of co-production is to ensure that we work towards the patient's needs at the end of the day. I think we've got to be realistic. There is no extra money. We have to find funding in hybrid ways, and ideally anything that we do needs to be in some way self-sustaining. And I suppose that would be the message I would want to leave this conference with, is that there has to be some kind of self-sustaining approach to arts interventions in health and well-being.
So in the course of the conference, together we've identified a variety of topics that we might explore further, and here we are considering them and voting on priorities.
I am Persephone Newman. I'm a reader in applied theatre at Newman University, and I was privileged to help with the organisation of the first Cathedrals group Arts and Health and Wellbeing Conference here. It has been a wonderful experience of preparations, looking forward to welcoming colleagues from other institutions, because I think what we've been discussing the last 2 days is really important to the further development of the field. I'm very excited because I met colleagues from a wide range of backgrounds in music, drama, dance and the visual arts from institutions across the Cathedrals group, and they all bring their own expertise and experience, which is a wonderful thing, because if we could work together, collaborative on educational levels, on research levels, and on practical levels, it will be absolutely amazing, because I believe that there is loads of scope for further development in what we do, and by taking realistic and inspired steps forward, we could help the arts, we could help the healthcare public sector, we could help the higher education sector, our students and the people to benefit from the arts for a better well-being, for a better way of dealing with life, and for a more inspired and happy and joyful life through the arts.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting couple of days. It's been really great to meet like-minded people working in similar spaces and places, and share ideas and knowledge. And I really look forward to keeping in touch with these people and following up the ideas in the last couple of days.
I think it's been a fantastic couple of days. It's been really important to make connections between disparate elements of the field and the discipline, and see how we can all mutually work together and really develop some of the ideas that have been floated this weekend.
I think it was a very interesting experience attending this conference, and I think it's very important at the end of this today we actually have a plan, we've got a way to move forward now, and so I think all of us have to go back to our institutions and start discussing in very real terms how we're going to take it forward.
A great conference with a huge variety of people from different disciplines and different universities. Lots to learn actually, and some very useful networking too, so a good day.